everyone, and welcome back to more Ace Attorney. Yes. We're about to start the trial. I guess this next part of the trial. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Maybe we'll be wrapping up the case. I don't know. Anything good? Yes. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. What do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended on a giant mystery. That's true. Still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, that wasn't doubt. That was, determination. Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger. Don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this will help. Huh? Maybe taking up aromatherapy too? Not a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. Oh my goodness. Small bottle that turned up in Trespien's kitchen a couple days ago. All right, look at all these bottles. Aromatherapy bottles. Got so many. Wait a minute. This one bottle that's a little different from all the others. It doesn't have a label either. Let's smell. Finally got the analysis results back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Yeah, for the ears. Topical use of only, apparently. Oh, this is a medication. For ears. You mean... Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elge was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elge's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but... it's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today. Impregnable? What? Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done. Or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bride. Wait, haven't I said your name wrong the whole time? Maggie. Beard. Beard? Maggie Bird? Maggie Bird! I've been saying Bride. My brain isn't switching the R and Y. It's Maggie Bird. Whoops! Fence is ready, Your Honor. Saying your last name wrong the whole time. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor. Very good. We'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. Claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows the victim drank from it with his right hand. According to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Godot. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. It's amazing how many contradictions in a single case can have, huh, Nick? Ha! Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world you see keeps turning, and we must turn with it. You've You've lost me already, Mr. Godot. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You've got to change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answers to these riddles. The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in there. He was throwing us off the scent. And today I'll prove it. Very well. Let the first witness take the stand. And you are? Oh, bonjour everyone. I'm Jean Armstrong, the owner and chef of La Tribulations restaurant in Canton. Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Oh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I'm a pert and perky gentleman, none? On the day of the incident, you were in Tribulations' kitchen. Isn't that right? Was you, monsieur? Everything feels right. Huh. Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything imitate that guy? Intimidate, sorry. Very well, please, your testimony, please, witness. Oh god, here we go. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tribulations. Oi, volunteers. What? I'm so sorry, French people. When it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember that I was experimenting with some new art deco that day. Like having a large mirror between la tables, for example. Oi, perhaps that is what old man was looking at. La cup, la earpiece, and la glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, none? Mirror? Oi, un gran mirror. La most enormous mirror. And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. That would explain the cup of coffee and the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Where was this mirror? And who were the 2 customers exactly? Mice, of course. The young man who died. And the other, not-so-young man. You are referring to yesterday's witness, I presume. What about the other man Maggie says she saw at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence. We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we? I guess I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being. Okay, so I need more information. But I think that's where we're gonna probably... we're probably gonna contradict that. You're experimenting with Art Deco? How come I never heard about that before today? You're not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur. Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this? Why didn't you tell the court about this before? But I did, just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decoture? No, Art Deco. It is style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design, walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing. Yes, of course, that deco. I was trying to achieve more effeminate look for my restaurant, explaining the most bold remodeling of la decor. How big of a mirror are we talking about here? Something about 4 meters wide and about 2 meters high. Let's see. 1 meter is about 1 yard. Holy glass in a frame, that's huge. I was intending to install it in the ceiling eventually. The ceiling? Was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. My son, but I decided not to go through with it in the end. What should I do? Should I ask him more about the mirror or not? Yeah. If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. There's something about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimony. But you didn't ask, Wright. You have only yourself to blame for such sloppy work. What? A mirror was delivered to Trespion the day before the incident. Really? As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end. This doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Trespion, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime. Huh. If you want to doubt someone, try look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough. So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror. Normally, I expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object. Normally? How does normality come into this? That's lame, Wright. Even for you. Huh? Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it? Where does that leave the porcoo-headed lawyer and the top-notch chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask over here? Well, Wright? Not the hair! I don't have a top knot! Mr. Katata is correct. Elective normality is no basis for discounting an argument. Bien, logic is wanted la dere. Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse. Oi. Hey, Nick. We should take a second to think about what old CD said in his testimony. How did he phrase it again? Boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. Same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. I saw everything he described reflected in a mirror. Then everything he said he saw on the left was actually on the right, huh? That clears up all the problems of the testimony, I guess, or does it? Huh. It's hard to believe everything's the fault of a mirror, but... Do you think old CD saw everything through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony. That just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's gotta be something in that old man's testimony. We just gotta dig deeper. Do I have... Didn't he write something? I broke this space at my seat. I'm sorry. Oh, when he saw... the broken vase. Maybe? That would be my only assumption. Okay. Present this. Okay, that was wrong. Okay, I was like, this doesn't seem right. Something to do with this testimony. Oh, crap. I'm glad I didn't present anything. Well, I guess he wouldn't have been wearing the earpiece. That's my guess. Coffee cup, the earpiece, the HMD. Let's think back over to Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? Same side of the green lens of his specs. Left ear. So to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were worn on the victim's left side. Now Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in the mirror. It means both the HMD and earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactment. You see, monsieur? Now that you think about it, it's not so hard, none? Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it that HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order, order! Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye. How bitter. Trite, you should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks. You remember this, I presume? I broke the vase. Sorry. Apology Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony. Exactly. The old man has a very grievous habit other than throwing seeds. More of an impression something makes, the more muddle his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elge? Clearly it's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elge's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled speckles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear. Ha! Well, Trite? That's the worst but best impression of Mr. Kudo ever. Well, I really thought he was... Oh, I didn't realize that's what we're doing. I really thought he was old CD for a minute. For a minute there. That's good. Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of contradiction you found is just a trash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears. Oh, I can explain. Please, if you will look at La Panza restaurant. Oh Lord, is everyone sitting comfortably? Lemire was in the middle of the restaurant dividing the two halves. There was only one seat for which you could have seen an image of a la victim. That was the seat as the table next to la victims that was where la old man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved Lemire so it was not his way. But naturally I did not touch anything else. I see no problems with the explanation we have just heard. On the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this. Don't worry about it. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again. Ugh, I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volunteers, of course. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. If I please, I guess. Middle of the restaurant. So run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? Oi. Oi, really? Because Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way. Look who's talking, Trite. Huh? You're obstructing my view, among the other things. But this is my seat in the courtroom. Trust me, and this charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, Trite. I'll tell you, monsieur, la mirror was there in the middle restaurant. There's only... Oh, okay, hold on. Let me read that again. What? Seat. And where would that be? Ooh la la, you... Look how you lean towards me. I always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones too, you know. Handsome. Shall I tease you? I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. I bet she has mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. Bien, I will tell you. There was only one seat from which you would have seen. Oh. Two halves. There was only one seat. And where would that be? Oh wait, did I already... Oh. I totally got confused. Whoopsies. Okay. There we go. So, why can you only see the victim from that particular seat? Moist, monsieur. It is obvious, none? If you look at la plans, you'll understand. The victim would have been reflected in la mirror like so. If you were sitting at the table next to him, you would seen everything, none? So that's the seat old Seedy was sitting in on that day, when the poisoning happened. The old man was sitting at the table next to the victim. Why does that seem kind of odd? Hold on. What did I say? Sorry. It would have been reflected in the mirror like that. If you were sitting at the table next to him, you would have seen everything. When the poisoning happened, the old man was sitting at the table next to the victim. Seemed kind of odd. Okay, I'll have to keep that in mind. Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police? Boy, exactamente. I carried it out of the restaurant then. You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself? What can I say? I know how to pick things up. And some. Godot actually laughed at something? Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it's possible. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong? I look like the obliging type, none? Actually, I didn't touch anything else. Are you sure about that? I touched nothing except la mirror. Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match the crime scene? Yeah, there is. Just keep up my finger on what exactly. Ha. Suffering from a case of heartburn, right? Oh, I have just the thing for that. An oil with golden mirth and frankincense. Add a few drops to your coffee and voila, enjoy. Focus, Phoenix, breathe. I need to ignore those two and just find some evidence. It's pretty strange though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. You'd think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old CD. Then the only logical explanation is that there was no mirror inside Trust Me on that day. I just gotta prove it, somehow. I didn't touch anything. Oh, crap. Crap! I didn't touch anything else. Okay. Okay, well this is the wedding ticket. I don't have the other ticket. The other thing that I probably present is the medication, right? Because it was in the kitchen. Frick. That was wrong. Okay, hold on. I gotta save because I'm gonna die otherwise. I can't- that first one just, like, totally took me out. I didn't touch anything else. Okay, my last guess is the lottery ticket. Really? Okay. Let's reload. So so maybe I don't do anything with that. Okay. Then he said something, there was something odd about the mirror. Profiles. Do we have the thing about the waitress? A broken vase? That vase isn't broken. Oh. The broken vase. That vase isn't broken in the picture. What do I present? The picture or the thing? Broke the vase on my seat. Okay. I had to really look at my evidence there. Your Honor, Mr. Kudo's words yesterday strongly contradict Mr. Armstrong's testimony. This is the letter of apology that was written by Mr. Kudo, is it not? I realize it looks useless, Your Honor, but this is still testimony. Ha! Guess useless people are only really good at identifying useless things. What relevance does this scrap of paper What relevance does this scrap of paper have to the trial, Mr. Wright? Mr. Kudo's testimony is actually very relevant to the question at hand, Your Honor. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. The picture. Okay. Okay. My gears are turning. My gears are turning. This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we've heard, Your Honor. Crime scene photo. For a second, I thought I was wrong. Yes, the photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist? Huh, sounds like you're describing yourself, Wright. That's really funny. Stop, it's really funny. When now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is something that should not exist in this photo? The vase. Present. There's one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. Yet, as the court can see, there's a broken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was in fact not sitting at the table next to the victim at all. Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Tribulations that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu! Don't try to confuse the court, Wright. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene. Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary, on his own words. I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Gug! Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we returned back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear which she couldn't hear? Huh. You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'd be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it. Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. A mistake, the ear doctor made a mistake. The victim was a phony. Mr. Kudo made a mistake. The ear doctor made a mistake. What? The victim was a phony? The victim was a phony. Missing CD. Mr. Kudo make a... okay. The victim was a phony. The victim was a phony? This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet, there's one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? 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 The victim was a phony? I was like, what? Hold up. Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elge at all. It was an imposter. A phony pretending to be Mr. Elge. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. Oh, this is actually kind of good. This is a good way to go with this. I think they're right. I think we're right. It makes sense why nothing adds up. Order! Order in the court. Settle down or clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? That's right. Are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Because there was a whole 5 minutes where he left. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elge and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Victor Kudo. That makes sense. Okay. And then the 5 minutes, then the actual victim ended up being there. Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was... Serving girl brought him a Javakino, she put something in it. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. Remember her well. It's so hard to believe, but... There was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. to show Maggie Bird and the act of poisoning the coffee. Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at this time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. That's right! What witness? If your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct? Ooh la la. This is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You're under oath after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Chess BN that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. Oh. Oi! He's in deep water now, bro. I remember recording. La victim, Monsieur Elge, came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When God would il a won lottery. Lottery, Mon Elge became very excited. He was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. None there was time for a phony to do the acting. Just so we're clear, there was no memory in the restaurant after all. Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I want this mess to be cleared up quickly. What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I'll decide how to punish you later. Hoy. For now, we will hear cross-examination, Mr. Wright, if you please. Took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. Victim Monsieur's Elge came to my... Okay. Was he alone at the time at his table as well? More so, I saw him from the kitchen. Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table. Huh, unfortunately for you, Wright. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee has he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Boy, he comes often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special. I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy. Monsieur, you are most welcome anytime. I said it was worth one sip. Nothing more. So, old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. How many minutes after? Don't ask any. What time was that? Ooh, what time was that? Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh no, I cannot remember, Monsieur. Oh. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. 2:25 p.m. The kind of scary old man. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened about 20 minutes after you arrived. Victim must have arrived between 2 and 2:10 p.m. Oh, here we go. That's not right. So just after 2, huh? Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, Monsieur. You are wonderful. Ha ha ha. Can't sit here all day and do nothing now, can I? Time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Oi, Monsieur Judge. Everything I do for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? Ha ha ha. I'm glad at least one good person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. Okay, this is what I needed. Here we go. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. Oh, Koi, what do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio in his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Boy, that must be the show Mun Edge was listening to. I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder. You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Oh yeah, I'm sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was that time, because I just finished serving Lava Lynch menu. Get to the point, right, if you have one. The show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on air at 1:30. Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. None! This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. The victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glenn Elges in Tribulations that day. The real Glenn Elge, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer. The phony Glenn Elge, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. Certainly seems that way. I mean, if it wasn't the case, how could you explain the time discrepancy? Quite a performance, right? You were almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this? Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony Elge is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain then where the real Glenn Elge is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court, however. That time, the real Glenn Elge was already dead. Certainly the obvious conclusion. Excuse me. Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours. Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glenn Elge, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? Prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. Your theory is to stand up to examination by the court. You must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, Trite. Let's hear some facts for once. Oh god. Let me save. I have no idea. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Piece of evidence. Evidence? What's with the intense pressure here in here all of a sudden? I thought I had him with that contradiction. Legs itchy. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Mr. Elge concealed? Inside? It has to be inside, trust me. Where are they gonna stick a body outside? It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Trespien. Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside the restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Exact location where the body was concealed inside Trespien. Could it have been in the kitchen? The kitchen? That's the only place I could think of. The body was hidden here. I see. Nice supposition? The real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? freaking hell, bro. What the hell? I'm really pulling this out of my ass. What the heck? The medicine bottle. The medicine bottle. The medicine bottle? The medicine bottle? The medicine bottle? Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? Oh my god. None. I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I'll use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality only for me. Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tribulations. Oi? I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains medication. What kind of medication? Sure everyone remembers, don't they? Mr. Elge visited an ontological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious! The defense has the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. Contents of the bottle matched the prescription that was given to Mr. Elge. Glenn Elge's murder hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Mon Dieu. Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird, however. You were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. None! Order! Order! This is extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn Elge? Never, I could not do such a horrible thing. No! Oh! Mr. Godot? The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of my coffee. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend? Jevos demanded pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me. Por favor. Yo habla español. Mr. Armstrong and por favor is Spanish. I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? None. None. Absolutely none. He didn't do it, but he definitely helped. Let's hear it. You've got one shot. Right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. As is my gavel. Oi, it is clear. What do they always say in movies? Got a bad feeling about this. Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong. The confession. It is true. I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with them because there was a reason I could not refuse. But I did not kill him. I swear. You must believe me. You were forced. By who? I cannot say, or I will be erased. Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elge died, was he really the only person at his table? There was... the man. There was another man. I knew it. Maggie was telling the truth. You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. Did you carry the body by yourself? Boy, I carried them. I carried Maggie too. Maggie too? When she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there. Why did you hide the bodies? A man forced me to do it. I had no. Oh, right. What man? Who was he? No, I cannot say. I fear for my life. He's really scared. Just had to put the words in his mouth, Hank. Yeah, you're right. If he won't tell me, I'll tell him. Why'd you go along with this man? And what reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong? You know, monsieur. Yes? Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment. A maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that. And a bit too male. Can't finish a cross-examination without establishing his reason. I'll just have to prove it with evidence. The loan? The loan. The loan. The loan. You have a $500,000 debt, don't you? $500,000? Is this true, Mr. Armstrong? Hoy, this is the Zoe. I was weak, and I borrowed the money. This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man. By this man. Oh, we're showing what man it is. $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything. This man told you. Oh, it is as you say. Mr. Armstrong, a tiger. He told me he was going to use my restaurant for business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body and the inconscient Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I tried to forget what I had seen. I think we can now safely say the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tiger. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket, was that your doing as well? None. I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. I was not. It is despicable. Mr. Godot. You will summon this Furio Tiger as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we adjourn for now. Proceedings will be continued tomorrow. Oh, he's already got him? 30 minutes. Oh! What? The trial will go on. I'll see it to myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more. How the? Don't sit back and relax yet, Wright. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Very well, your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tiger is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. Oh. Oh! Okay, well this is one episode, I guess.
gonna continue after this, but I'll end the video here. I'll end the video here. Because we're kind of just like in the middle of it, which is kind of weird, but it's a save, so I'll stop it here. But I will continue myself. I will continue myself. You'll probably see it in like the next couple of days. But yeah, oh, okay, 30 minutes. He's gonna get him. Whatever you say, good night. Yeah. So next time, oh my gosh, we're gonna finally talk to him. Finally have a conversation. Like, oh my god. I've been itching. But yeah, finally, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him. We're gonna put him behind bars. We're gonna get him. But yeah, very excited for that. I'll see you next time. That's gonna be pretty eventful, I think. But yeah, have a good day or night. Goodbye.